Shark Week begins August the 27th at the Tennessee Aquarium in Chattanooga. And here to tell us more about this event, where you're definitely not going to need a bigger boat, is Thom Benson. Hey, Thom, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Chris, and maybe we will need a bigger boat.
You said you had some props there. That was just the first one you brought up. Man, sharks. I mean, folks are just love anything to do with sharks.
Yeah, and we might as well get right to it because it's the business end that we're concerned with, right?
Right.
The mouth and the teeth. And this is what a sandbar shark's teeth look like. And they're triangular. There are certainly hundreds of teeth. And if you look on the other side, you can see there's just rows and rows. It's sort of like a conveyor belt. When a tooth falls out, the next one moves into place. And sharks are constantly losing their teeth throughout their lifetime. So a shark can go through thousands and thousands of teeth. And this has been going on for millions of years, Chris. If you're familiar, the megalodon shark was an ancient shark that was patrolling the ocean's waters some 20 million years ago. And these guys grew up to lengths of 50 feet in length. So imagine a school bus sized shark swimming around. This is a great white shark tooth, again, triangular in shape like the megalodon, and also like the sandbar shark, one of the two species that we have on display, great white. And then the sand tiger shark has a little bit different shaped tooth. It has more of a pointed configuration to it. And the sand tiger shark, because of that pointed configuration, what he does is he uses those teeth like forks to grab something and swallow it whole. Whereas the great white shark, the sandbar, and back in the day, the megalodon shark would use these triangular teeth with the serrated edges, kind of like scissors to cut a piece of fish off and then swallow it in chunks, but keep using that like scissors to cut.
Definitely apex predators. I mean, when folks, you know, there's some fear and some dread that goes along with sharks, but they are much needed in the ecosystem in our oceans.
Yeah, and there's so many different shark species. There's more than 500 shark species around the world, and during our SharkFest virtual event, we're going to be highlighting some of those. The Japanese horned shark, for example, is one that people might not be familiar with. They actually probably have today, the megalodon back in the day would have had the greatest bite force, but the horned shark actually has very strong jaws, and maybe the world's strongest jaw, because they use those jaws as their bottom feeders to crunch open sea urchins and those hard shells of snails and clams and things like that. So we'll get to meet some cool sharks on our virtual Shark Fest right now at the Tennessee Aquarium in one of our backup areas. We have some glow-in-the-dark sharks, swell sharks that under UV lighting glow, and they really brighten up, and you'll be able to see that. So a lot of cool stuff. Fabian Cousteau will be part of that. Fabian has a new graphic novel for kids. It's a new book called Great White Shark Adventure, and we have some of those online, and Fabian will actually personalize those. So if you buy those in the auction, we'll send the names off to Fabian, and he'll sign those books. So Chris, if you bought it, it'd be to Chris from Fabian Cousteau.
That's awesome. That is really awesome. Let's talk about the online portion of SharkFest. Tell us about it. It's for members of the Tennessee Aquarium, correct?
Yeah, the online program will last an hour. It'll start at 6 p.m. and we're going to have some really cool segments on there. Again, meeting some of our carpet sharks and some of our walking sharks in the Stingray Bay Touch Tank that you might not see when you visit because they tend to hide under the rockwork. So we'll talk about those. We've got a film company here in Chattanooga that has had some of the top-rated shows on Shark Week. And, you know, when you think about great white sharks, of course you think of Chattanooga, Tennessee, right, Chris?
All the time. Every time I think about sharks, I think about the Tennessee Aquarium.
Yeah, but these guys have traveled all over the world, and they've filmed great white sharks for some of the top rated shark documentaries that you've seen on Shark Week. And it's kind of amazing to think they're right here in Chattanooga. And they also film interesting sharks like basking sharks. These are whale shark-sized sharks that feed on plankton. They're sort of like our paddlefish. They have these great big mouths, and they swim around scooping up plankton. And then we'll talk about the ancient sharks, and we'll also do a live shark feed, something that you don't get a chance to see every time you're at the Tennessee Aquarium, but see those big sharks in our tank eating.
And if folks want to help out the aquarium, you also have an auction going on. Tell us about that as well.
Yeah, so again, things like the Fabian Cousteau book. There's also some of these very cool megalodon shark teeth. And these are literally millions of years old. They've been donated by some of our volunteer divers and folks over at Nature Films Network. These were collected off the eastern seaboard of the United States, and they range in size. But you can see this one compared to the size of my hand. That's a pretty big tooth. So this is going to be very cool for somebody. And then we have some buy it now items, including a little pamphlet here, a lapel pin, and you'll get a little sack of shark teeth collected from our sharks here at the Tennessee Aquarium. And again, those sharks are constantly replacing those teeth, so they fall out in our exhibits all the time.
All right. Thom Benson, thank you so much for taking some time out with us and getting us ready for SharkFest.
Yeah, one last thing, Chris. Do you know why sharks lose their teeth all the time?
Why is that?
Because they don't floss.
And on that note, he's here all week, folks. First of all, he's there at the aquarium all week. Tip your waiter, by the way, Thom. Appreciate it, Thom. It is SharkFest. It's happening starting on August the 27th. Check it out. We got the information for you right there on the screen.